Okay, yes, good afternoon once again. We have our online audience also available. I see 2 people have logged on. Some of them may actually even be here. You know, so we want to proceed on. I don't know what's happening to this cable. I see it's either is it this part here? Which part is loose? Is that side? Eh? So in our tutorials, we have quite a number of our tutorials that we would want to cover. You think better touch it, it will work. Maybe you keep your fingers there. Put something there, see there's a remote, try and keep something nearby to. So we had a number of items that we looked at. Hey, are you sure we've come to the right room? It's wasting a lot of our time. It doesn't work. It's this one here. It's down here. It's inside the socket. You can't plug it out. It's all the way from there. You're seeing that connection all the way to here. It can't work. Not even felt it anything. Yes, RegShot. We installed that small software and we were able to create different shots to allow us to check for integrity of that storage device. Remember chapter 4 that has everything concerning storage. In digital forensics, our focus is on anything that has any storage capacity. The moment we have we suspect that yes, there is some information somewhere, be it on the server that we have our CCTV, be it on phones, on flash disks, on so many points, as long as we suspect that there is some storage, that is what we need to carry out a forensic investigation. A forensic investigation is more or less like a postmortem. We want to discover the truth. We want to help and exonerate an individual from a particular case. We want to see if the workers in that organization were actually not the ones that sent any kinds of crimes, whether there are kinds of vulnerabilities to the organization servers. The other item we saw is the need of a chain of custody. You need to follow protocol. That is very important in the kind of documentation. We need to go to court and seek clearance. You don't just go and say, oh, you're invited by a bank and you quickly jump there. No. You need to follow the rightful procedure. That is our chain of custody. Next is using a right blocker. We saw we have two forms of right blockers, not so, in hardware as well as software. The focus and aim of a right blocker is to make sure it freezes our information to prevent us from writing or even deleting any information from it. Note that a right blocker is only used in Windows. Linux doesn't need that right blocker. Having acquired whatever kind of device you have, we proceeded on to data acquisition. To carry out our data acquisition, we installed our Forensic Toolkit Imager, FTK Imager, which was an open source version. When you created file, create, when you click file, then create image, you follow the steps and you create either an image of a flash disk, you choose the first option, or we can choose for the hard drive, there we choose the next option, a logical, or we choose a particular drive that a folder that you're interested in. Sometimes you can also be in position to pick or to create another image. So you need to take your time and read and follow the instructions in creating it. Of course, you need to have created, you'll create the case number, who the investigator is, and the process begins of acquiring this image, making a copy of it. Again, we said it's in good faith that you create a second image. Thereafter, we go to the analysis. In the analysis, it's when we do the searching. And we'll see in the searching, we have different kinds of tools that are able to help us to read them and bring them in a format that is legible. And I tell you, you'll still go through the same kind of processes. At least be allowed time to ask questions with the team to be able to ask and see and touch and see at least some of this equipment and how one can use it. Here, at least we've only been able to see some videos, maybe some few pictures here and there. Doing it in motion is what would be best. Even still, you will not be able to do that because it's the actual, one of the main hubs as a government that actually does and handles forensic cases on behalf of different ministries, governments, and their agencies. Wherever they suspect that, yes, we suspect there is a crime happening, either it's a virus, we want to do a forensic to find out more detail, they can be able to handle it. Today, we want to go ahead and look at OS Forensics. OS Forensics is an open source tool that helps us to do the forensic analysis. If we had it installed, I don't know if you have your laptops, you can still go and install it. Unfortunately, my version expired. It expires in 30 days. That's the trial version. Beyond 30 days, you have to pay about $179 each month, which is very expensive. And so that's why we're able to get us to this lab to see how can we use the other tools that are already pre-installed here. So I don't know, do you or can you be able to log on onto the computers, please? Log on onto the computers. You need to switch on the Oracle VirtualBox. There should be an icon on your desktop. Have we all been able to see it? This VirtualBox is able to allow us to pick as many updates as we can, as possible. Is yours working? It fails, you want to share with your neighbors. There's a neighbor here. You can shift him so that you learn. So it will keep on updating for us. Let's see if we can share our screen. So the team that is online, please, you need to come to the lab. John, you'll need to come to the lab. I just kept my phone on to check that we can see what we have. Why I like it is that you can be able to practice on your own. When you're stuck, you can refer to some of these recordings that we have. So we have already installed or pre-installed for you. Let me see if I try to minimize. Okay, so this way maybe we can all be able to see what we have. So these are the two tools that we have. There is the Forensic Win, then there is this, the lower one is Access. Are you able to see something like that? What do you see on your screens? Only Forensic Win. Only tools. Ah, you don't see any of these two. Ah, that's very strange. Unless if they uninstalled, we need to find out from our lab attendants if they uninstalled it. Yes, if you have it on if you have your laptops, please, you can install it. Did you carry your hard drives? You can't carry it on a flash disk because it's executable. It quickly executes it. We had some 2 volunteers the last time that had shared with us somewhat, that had shared their hard drives. Where are the 2 volunteers? Did any of you carry your hard drives? Okay, do you want to please help and share with the others? It will take time. However, you can't only just see without doing. It will be very dangerous. If they were installed, then would have clicked start. It's more or less like a little, just as here it's a virtual machine that is running. So it takes a bit of time for it to run and load. But at least it's something that you can use on and on. So it's starting its own windows, its own little virtual box. And so there we go. The password is forensic, small letters. It's supposed to show a small window. It's basically the virtual environment that you're in. And of course, the moment you're on internet, it's able to give you several updates. It's up to you. If you're interested, you always get the latest versions. It has quite a number of tools. Unfortunately, you're only just going to be able to visualize and see. However, a number of these we've already seen. We've already seen the FTK. This exactly has a number. Instead of FTK, what they have here is called autopsy. Autopsy here has a face of a little dog with its 2 ears. So this is the autopsy that helps us to do exactly what the FTK, the forensic toolkit, did for us at that point in time. It's true that people online are gone. They are seeing something very small and miserable. So within this virtual tool, it has several other tools in it that it's a complete one. It's totally complete. However, you'll see that the other smaller tools we are going to cover, actually do what we have here. In case you've logged on and you're in the room, please kindly mute so that we don't have several echoes. So we always start by creating a new case. If it's the very first time that you're creating a case, create a case, give it its case name, its directory, of course, if it's a single user or multiple users. I prefer using a date because a date is hardly repeated. No, it won't be repeated in our lifetime, not so. Once a date is gone, it's gone. The best directory would want to see where would we want to put what we are creating or just that case. We proceed on and give it a number. It's okay, you can call it this date still to track and know, or if it has a particular case number. And of course, they always ask you for the person who has created that particular case. So this is the case that we are creating. We have created our case. So we should be in position now to start the acquisition. It does exactly the same as what Forensic Toolkit exactly does. It goes all the way from creating an image. It's asking us for getting the source type to add an image. You want to browse for an image file, especially if you already have one. If not, you want to select, you can't select a hard drive. It's better to select like a flash disk. Then that will take a shorter time. Unless if you want it to run for more than 2-3 hours, it may take forever. So we need to be very mindful of what we are trying to create a copy of. If you're choosing a flash disk, choose it. Whatever you'd want to create, Let's see if we can maybe create maybe for a particular folder. Of course, one thing you see, it's not picking from my original desktop. No, I can only see what is on the desktop of this virtual environment in which one can do some of the little studies in. You should have some files, some image. I see here there is a lab file, an image that's already pre-existing. You select all the different components that you would want to add to it and proceed on. It's telling us it has failed to add that data source because it has an error. It's okay. It's telling us that the errors occurred in ingesting that image. In those folders, we actually have a lot of steps and information that guide us on how we use this actual tool. I've chosen a logical drive, but of course, I'm so sure I know what a logical file is. A logical file means that I want to do a backup of my C drive. Of course, that's very dangerous. If my capacity is already at 500 GB, I will need a lot of time and a lot of patience. And that's why you see when you're doing forensics, you need to have a very good, very fast machine. So we proceed on until you click next, until you finally get to see where you're ending. But of course, we shall have to cancel it. If it's too big, we'll definitely have to get rid of it, because usually once we follow through the steps and we choose the raw data, we said that in the raw kind of data that you collect, it should be exactly the same size. So if it's 500 GB, I must have also 500 GB that is free. Once one is completed with the whole process, you can be able to generate the forensic tool, report, the forensic report by clicking generate report. So it gives you a final output of what it has found in within the image and create for you a number of details. Okay, we've not done much detail here. That's why it has only given us our case number, our case, the case number, the examiner, the number of images as 0. We've not created one. So it has nothing much to report for us. So this one is what you can choose in what format. Do you want it in a PDF format? Do you want it in another kind of format? So that is the kind of report that one would expect. They have quite a number of tools here. There is one for hashing. When we look at hashing, who can remind us what does hashing do? It also helps us to test that a file has not been tampered with. It tests for integrity. So you'll find that it has several other tools that do different items. We have WinHex. There is this one here, HEX. WinHex is what allows us to do the analysis of after creating that image. You open WinHex and it's able to read what our image exactly has. Okay, I'm very keen in leaving this virtual tool because I don't see us having it. How many of us have yet installed it? Let us leave it for the next time and let us try, give ourselves a target of this week to make sure by Friday we come when we have installed it, please. Install both the the Forensic Win7 and also install the Access Forensic Toolkit. So we would want to go on, of course, the OS Forensics would have helped us to do it. And I would still advise you to please go ahead and use the OS Forensics. If you install it, it's only valid for 30 days as a trial version. So that one will still be able to do exactly the same as what we have been seeing. Let us see how can we be able to use our RAM dumping. Let me see. No, all that it's showing us here is still for the Access Data Forensic Toolkit, which is in creating an image, which we saw even the last time in the last class we had, that's on Wednesday evening, we're able to follow through with it. It's very interesting to see the kinds of forensic challenges that we face as a country. We asked them and they informed us that one of the biggest threats we face as a country is fishing. Do we know what fishing is? What is fishing? Collecting fish. Wanji? No. And that fishing is PH. PHISHING. These are people that send all kinds of strange, funny emails. That is the biggest crime that all people targeting Uganda always send on a daily basis. The next one are, of course, emails. Emails that come with lots of viruses. So they tell us Uganda is one of those hotspots as well. So I said, okay, that means that is very important for people to always scan, not even to just open any forms of attachments. I'm telling you, today the volume has decided to go, but it's okay. So what happens in Dumpit? Dumpit is a software that helps us to assess the random access memory. You want to check if you're currently being attacked by a particular kind of vulnerability. You want to check if the system is facing a live attack, either eating up the memory, consuming it, and you'll be surprised when you look at what you have. You need to first of all know what is your current capacity of your hard drive, what is your memory, what is your capacity, and how much of it are you currently using. So this tool goes and runs in the background and returns to us, gives us a report which will give us a list of all vulnerabilities that are run in the background that are eating up our space in real time, random access time, right from the random access memory, not just because we've seen for the other side, we do in the read-only memory for the acquisitions. So sometimes you want to track and see, is there something happening in real time? So again, we shall go to Google. We'll open Google and install it. It's called Dumpit, D-U-M-P-I-T. Dumpit. It's a very small tool. Once we download it, we install it on the desktop and keep our shortcut there. Of course, it's very good for you to choose one for your operating system and also for the version that you have. The one we see that's available here is Dumpit. It's a free download for Windows 11 all the way to 7. Okay, so we have Dumpit here. We need to make sure that, yes, it's the right one that we have. So we go ahead and we download it. I beg your pardon. So you want to choose if it is Windows, it's definitely what you're interested in. When you click here on a team viewer, so where it has taken us to, you need to know what version are you picking. What is your memory? What is your RAM for your laptop or computer? If it is 32, you want to pick 32. If it's 64, you select 64. In my case, it's 64. I'll collect my 64 version. So it gets with its installation. It can't be TeamViewer. It honestly can't be TeamViewer because TeamViewer is a software. It's used for remote sensing. If you're working, imagine you're somewhere and someone tells you, oh, I'm stuck with my laptop, I'm stuck with my computer. I don't know what is happening. I can see this, I can't see the other. So you tell them to go and install TeamViewer. TeamViewer will allow you to create a session for not more than 5 computers. It's for remote. So once you install it, that means someone should have the higher version for you to be able to be seen to help us. So what we want to look for is still dump it. Okay, so dump it is right here at the bottom for its latest version. This looks like another ad. Don't. Okay, dump it as our latest version until we install it. Which password? Pardon? You want to install it? No, please, you can't do much if you don't have a laptop, I'm telling you. Don't go ahead and install several of these tools. We shall need permission from the administrator. So this is the kind of window we shall have for dump it. So it asks us, are you sure you want to continue? We press Y, yes, we would want to continue. So it keeps on with the processing. But what is important is that you need to know the capacity of your computer. You need to know the capacity of your machine so that you're able to see in the kind of report as it's processing. You should be in position to see what kind of output and to interpret what your random access memory is and how much of it is being eaten up either by viruses, how much of it is actually available for it to do work, which may affect the speed. Really, now is not the time to start troubleshooting for volume. Yes, Matt, sorry. You may need to just go to Google and ask it for RAM dumping software for Macs. But many times Mac assumes by the time you can afford to get a Mac, you should be in position to buy software. So all he's doing here, all they're doing at this point in time is to just confirm what is their capacity when they go to properties. When you go to properties and you click your settings and you click your view, you want to see what are your specifications. If it is 8 GB, in his case, he needs to keep track of it. That's why he has just highlighted it, because you'd want to see, is all the 8 GB available for usage? So as it runs, we need to keep that in mind. They typed yes, and of course the processing goes on until we are able to get success. How many of us have successfully installed it on our laptops? Or we don't have data? It's still downloading. Ah. Do you have a flash disk? Because you could bring your flash disks and I give you a version. Of course, you'd want to share some viruses and also deposit some viruses. Wow, so once it finishes, it will give us a little output of the icon. So that little file is the output of the dump it, so would want to read its report and see. So this is the item that we have. Let me still share with us what we have. Anyway, it's right here on the desktop because its naming is already there. It calls it desktop something, A9 something something something, .raw. .raw is the other first version of the other small images. So it creates it. So having created it, we now need to read it or analyze it using another tool. Once we use that other tool, we shall be able to open what we have here to allow us read that particular dump, because it's speaking from what is currently running in memory. It has generated something there for us. So we would want to go to the next tool that allows us to read it. So let's pick through here. For ramp, our RAM dumping analysis, we need to use a volatility workbench. It's still a small tool as well that we can be able to look out for. What does volatility mean? Do we know if we tell you that memory is volatile or something is non-volatile? Who can explain to us in simple terminologies? If we say something is volatile, what does it mean? It's temporary. In case power goes off, we are liable to lose it. So that's why we are doing this RAM dumping. Then thereafter, we should be able to run and check it in volatility so that in case there was some form of packets that were also hidden in RAM, it should be able to pick them up and help us read them as part of the forensic investigation. So we shall have to type in Google still volatility workbench. It's still a very, again, small app that will run, because you see there are different versions available. The one you're interested in is one that is having a graphical user interface. One that has the graphical user interface to allow us to install it. So that's the one we would want to run. And of course, it's showing us the kind of steps that we are supposed to follow through. So you scroll all the way down to check and see what version you're going to pick. We should be able to click this one. Click to download that particular version. Okay, as it runs there, I would want to still allow it to do that. We said in within, I see the colleagues online have been forgotten. So we shall run a volatility workbench. It's up to us. If I want to, like I'm running Windows 10, I will pick for Windows 10. Otherwise, I'll just pick the general one, then I follow through on which version. This tool for volatility check is equally available in OS Forensics. So if you have OS Forensics, it can also be able to do it. If it's not there, It's also a small standalone tool that helps us to test for volatility. So we want to scroll down until we pick the version we're interested in. We pick this recent one, which is 11 MBs. So usually for the tools, they usually would advise for one to drag it to the desktop so that you can easily see it, and you right click it, either unzip it, depending on if you have what version. Mine can help me to open it in Windows Explorer. So we are interested in installing the EXE, Volatility Workbench .exe. It's telling me that mine already has it, of course. It's okay, go ahead and add us a second version. It's very small. Okay. It's definitely done. So I need to follow it all the way. I need to follow it all the way to the desktop to make sure I can open it. So our volatility workbench looks like this. Remember, we had already created our small image of our random access memory under dump it. So we want to analyze it for it to give us a report to see what did we have in memory that is important. Imagine if you go to a particular place and you tell them, you're under arrest, please kindly carry your bags and walk out. We want to do our investigation. Of course, there is work that is ongoing. So the information of what they're currently doing is stored where? In its random access memory. They have not switched off. You don't allow them to switch off, no. Just tell them, march out, and that is it. The forensic teams just come in that way to carry out their images, then go to the labs to sit and do a thorough analysis, print out, make a report, hand it over to police that will go and present it for whatever purposes they would want to handle that particular case. So in our workbench here, we would want to browse to pick up that image. We remember that little small image we had first of all created under the ramp dumping. Here it is, mine was here called desktop something, APT89Q something. So I need to open it because I'm doing the ramp dump analysis. I want to analyze and see what are the recent things they were doing. So I want to get our process list and see what is it that these people have been processing. It takes a bit of time for it to process. That's why it's telling us here that please wait, this will take a few more minutes. So it should be able to give us a whole set of report of what is running. And that's how, if someone is actually even attacking you live, you can be able to identify and see, okay, we have this number of viruses or this number of files that are actually consuming and running. So that shows us we have something to recover. It's an image. You'll still also be able to go and do a forensic analysis on it and get your information out and see if it has something that is useful. Here it's showing us the kind of output we would expect to get. And of course, it's for us to be able to make sense of it. Where it's in zeros, ones, that shows that at least there was something active that is running. So we can go to WinHex, use that same image, and it will be able to generate for us a complete report in our normal language. Some of the tools, by the way, there are so many tools in all kinds of languages. But however, if you go to that extra level of those other kinds of languages, then you will find that you will need to definitely be able to use licensed software that you can't be able to do within this kind of labs. That's why we say a virtual environment could help us, or any other small free tools like we are looking at now. So that's the kind of image that they're picking out on. Mine is overwhelmed. It's saying that it cannot run. I don't know whose volatile workbench has been able to run. It's saying that this could be due to selecting a wrong platform. Okay, we have no problem. We can still go back and try it and see. In the platform, we choose Windows. It's asking us, is it for Windows, Linux, or Mac? Definitely, we are not using any of the others. So we'd want to still go back and pick it. But one of the things I'm so sure, on your own it will run. On mine, it will still create an error for me. It's not the first time it has done it. And one of the issues is that I have so many viruses that are running in the background. But I will still run it the next time I will come with another laptop, so that I try to eliminate that kind of bias. How many of us have yet installed our volatility workbench? I'm interested in seeing those people at the back as well. No one. Wanji? No one. If you have nothing much to do, the next time we shall just better keep online. Because you're not any different. Looking at your faces, no reaction, no much added value. You keep online. Maybe there you may ask and be a little more active than here. Yes, do you have a question? So in the analysis, the power comes in within your analysis of what you have. Being able to interpret what you're seeing, being able to get the reader that can convert it from that zeros and ones or hexadecimal language to our normal readable natural language is the most important thing. Yes, please. First bring and you see. A black screen, then you type Y. Does it show you success? Okay, because it's supposed to create it on the desktop, it drops it on the desktop. It creates an image. When we run the dump it only runs and creates for you that image that you're now going to use. It creates an image of your random access memory. And so you're just going to read it using volatility to get this kind of little output that we're seeing on the clip here, for it to be able to tell us how much of your 8 GB or 16 or 64 that you have of your RAM is actually being used. Converting it using our ABC reader, it should be able to give us a normal report that me and you should be able to interpret. And it tells us how many files are available, how many are actually, so that you know that yes, at least there was something active, currently ongoing by the time you carried out that whole process. And sure, next is being able to use the hash values. Hashing, as we saw, is the process of carrying out, you remember, as part of the extraction. By the way, we will always ask you, what happens during the extraction? These are things we covered within the last chapter 6. There are a number of things that happen where we said one of them, we are trying to reconstruct what was exactly happening within the victim's machine. So being able to use the hash values, again, it's a tool. We can just install it, or you can pick it from OS Forensics. Even in the other virtual tool, there are so many tools that can help us pick it. Of course, these ones are running OS Forensics. That's how the OS Forensics free tool appears like, and it has so many different other tools. So they're going all the way to the hashing. And what does hashing help us to do to verify? So we click verify or creating a hash. When one is creating a hash, we are testing for integrity. So we can test for integrity in 2 ways. One, using the hashing or using the regshot. The regshot and also the hashing helps us to check if we have integrity, that nothing has changed. No one went and changed something on our tool after we had captured it. After we had picked it up, no one changed it. So what you do is exactly similar to what we did with regshot. We first of all run the hash value for a particular volume that you would need. It will calculate it. We have a hash calculator. You select a file, either a file or a volume if it's a hard disk, or if it's a particular text, you can actually choose any of those 3. Go and select it and click calculate. Every time we carry out our hash calculation, it now generates for us our MD5 as well as our hashing function 1. Copy those numbers and keep them in a Word document. Run it after some time again. Many times you can do this just like regshot. Go back, leave it for, you can run your hash value at night, in the evening after work, everyone is off. You run your hash value, keep it. Come back in the morning, run your hash value, and your own is to compare these numbers. The numbers I had yesterday, are they still the same as the ones I have today? Just to see, did some devils come in and start playing around after we had closed, that shows that yes, we suspect that yes, there was some bit of vulnerability. So what hashing does for us is to help us in just comparing these two values. I'm so much tempted. Of course, they have just opened up a text file because they want to open it and paste. They want to run, in this case, he wants to run for one particular text, a text file like this. He has just typed in digital forensics and saved it. So if you go back to the same file, you run its hash, go and change something, delete or add something, and you run the hash, you will be able to see that it will give you something. It will give you a big X. It will tell you the hashing has failed. So it's for you to interpret and know that, yes, the integrity of this file has actually been tampered with, just like what RegShot would have done. So it tells us for the hash functions, we can choose any of the two first, either the SHA. Who can tell us what is SHA in full? Secure hash, secure hash algorithm. Yes, it's one of those encryptions that it's actually running. Then the MD5 will also run it as well. So look at what they have seen. If I just, so they have actually picked, they've only picked, you remember the small text file? That's the one they picked. So you click these small dots here, these little 3 dots, to allow you to go and pick up the file whose hash values you're testing. Once we've picked them up, then you should be in position to carry out the calculation. It will run and give us some random numbers, as we shall see. It will give them to us in the primary text here and the secondary text. That's what we expect. So this is what our output is. Look at these strange numbers, 093 something, something, something. You just highlight them, keep them somewhere, because our target is to see, have they still maintained the same thing or have they changed? So what happens after we've run it, you can go back to that document and maybe edit or add something onto that document. That's why he has gotten out of the space, gone back to his little small miserable text here, and try to even edit it or even create another version here so that he can edit, add in something. He has just saved our MD5. That is the unique number we're looking for. It starts with 0 and ends with 22. Saves that one as well for the SHA, pastes it there, and does the SHA. That is the number we are going to check for because we are testing for integrity. We go back to our text and we see if there is anything that is different. So we had typed in previously digital forensics. You can choose to add something or maybe even delete some few words. Yes, it should be able to detect that we have done something to that text. In this case, he has only removed S. Goes back, picks the same file, and tells it to calculate the hash. Look at the SHA and the MD5, copies them, and tries to paste them below to compare. For MD5, to paste it there. Do you see how they are different? For SHA, it's now going to go and also pick it and see after calculating if it's the same. Can it detect that I've only removed S out of that file? So it has put it there. So when you're doing the hash value analysis, you're comparing this number with this number to see, are they exactly the same? No, This one starts with something, 0 ends with 22, while this one ends with AF. That is enough to tell us that something has changed. Someone did something to this particular text. Every time you run and you fail, and by the way, integrity, as we said, the courts of law will always ask you for confidentiality tests as well as integrity tests. Once you fail those two tests, they won't proceed on with the case. They will run them themselves. When they find you've manipulated, changed something, the case ends. It is cancelled, you've lost, they take you in. That already gives them a suspicion that, yes, you have done something very dangerous. So look at, he has just copied in the hash value here for the MD5. The moment you put it in for comparison, it has brought a big X. This X means that these two, if your eyes can't actually see the difference, for this same tool, the hashing will help us to check and see the level of similarity of these items. That is all that hashing does. All you're comparing for a text, it can be for a particular file. You just want to see. I'll give an example. We usually give you some assignments and we tell you to type them. Yes, you can just run your what? Your hash value, leave it, give your colleague your laptop who wants to borrow it. You come back and run it. If the person tampered with your work, it's true that the integrity test will fail. But if someone doesn't tamper with it, the comparison will be correct, and then it will have passed the test of integrity. So look at it, he has taken back the S to try and see. Saves it, of course, to try and see, okay, now they want to go back and run it again. They pick it and they carry out the calculation, hash value calculation. It's in the back end that the calculation is working. Don't ask me, madam, how does it do it? So it's trying to put here now what it is. Look at it, the S that was deleted, when they put it back, the hash value exactly came to the same. So they pick back the tool, and now on the comparison, they have put it back. Look at the correct. Do you see this tick? It has now turned to green. This shows that, yes, the integrity of that file has been maintained. Nothing has been deleted from it because the S that was deleted previously has now been returned. And that is all about the hashing. You generate your reports and you're good to go. But look at it here, it allows you to add it to your case. Remember, we already start by creating a case. So don't lock your mind up that, oh, it must be a particular tool, it must be, no. You go to any company, whichever forensic tool they are using, your own is that the same principles, and ask these experts in forensics when you visit. Ask them and you'll see they will still tell you the same kind of details. Ask as much as you can. If we find it easier because we may have to look for our own means of transport, definitely we can't walk. Then maybe we can ask them, but no, it's good for you to have a feeling of that little small space. It's a very small office, but very powerful, very expensive. So once we seek for permission and we are allowed, we will be able to get in touch and we see how we can affordably get some transport to see how we can find a way to the statistics house. And of course, they will tell you all forms of security that can be available. For no one, not even fire can enter the building. Or that particular floor, not the building. Elsewhere, it's not secure. That particular place, the quality of the doors, there are so many things. They've made it as fireproof as possible because of the kind of equipment. But how I wish we would be able to get a number of us, all of us in the class, to be able to attend. Okay, so for them now, they are running for the last item here. The first one was running integrity. check for a particular file. That was a .txt file. A volume if it is a flash drive, if it's a C drive, depending. Then the text, you can run just for a simple text A. It will give you its hash values. Go and change it to a big A or capital A. It will notice that it will give you something different. That's what they have done here. Small a is different from capital A, that it can be able to check all those amount of detail. You're comparing the hash that is up here for MD5 with the MD5 here. That's why it's a big X, showing that no, someone has tampered with that file. Until you take it back to a small a, you go back and run it, then that's how it will come to a proper text. I'm very keen on going on to a web browser because testing the integrity of a web browser is very important. Not even integrity, how do we carry out the forensics? And here would want to check for browser forensics. We may not be in position to go all the way to telephone forensics, but just know that if there is any particular case and there is a phone involved as part of the items you find, yes, you're coming to investigate Annabella and there is a phone, that means we want to do a forensic on that phone. It uses different tools from our Windows. Okay, so for a browser forensic, to carry it out and pick out the history. For browser forensics, this one is on internet, we can do that. We go back to Google and type in site. We go back to Google here and we type in site.nirst.net. This is to help us to view the browser history. I would want to spell it again. It's SITE site.nirst.net. This is a viewer browser. What does it do? It's able to view for us on that computer all kinds of browsers that you have ever installed on that machine. Return to you all websites since it was manufactured, I'm telling you. You know, sometimes you can just go to view history here and you'll quickly go and think you're viewing the history. This one will just give you the most recent ones, not so many, just a few. But using this particular link, ever since the manufacture date, you can't hide. That's why I told people that really, if you are doing something wrong and they capture you, please, you better relax. Don't even go into fighting because these tools will get everything ever since that device was manufactured. And they will track. You can search for different days. We suspect, yes, a contract took place between May and June of 2020. During COVID time, it's when a number of offices were doing funny issues with money. You just run it and it will bring back all kinds of history. Why do we think it's necessary to check people's browsers? To me as a parent, it's very necessary, especially when my little kids were studying online. Yes, as a parent, I need to check. Every time you come, you find them running away, going back to cartoons. What were you watching before? So my children know it. I say, my dear, I have to do forensics on you. If you've been watching anything, it's going to, they just know it. You dare not try it. Because every evening we have to run our tool. We come here for Chiboko because the work was supposed to have been done. You diverted, and it gives us our browser history. So If you're interested in tracing, Wanji, to hide it. To do what? After this, we shall also see for passwords. I'm telling you, it's very dangerous. Those tools, these ones are very dangerous. For as long as you have ever typed a password ever on that machine, in whatever browser, they all appear. And that's why I tell you, be careful going to these general cafes. You log in and say, am I logged out? You're not safe. The person will run these tools on you, go back and do exactly what you didn't want them to do. Use your email, pick information, start doing. Sometimes they can even throw you out of your own email. Have you heard of those stories? So they're able to do this using all these kind of funny tools. Okay, so let's first start with viewing this history, because before we go to the next one. Okay, so this is the site we are looking out for, and we want to go specifically down. We scroll down all the way to look out for the tool we're interested in. It gives us the, you see what it picks out for which browsers. The browsers are so many, by the way. There are some that I'd never heard of, not until I learned about this tool. Internet Explorer is all known, not so. Mozilla, Microsoft Edge is known. Chrome, Safari is known. No, not so. Who uses Safari? Those with Macs use Safari. Opera is also common. Yandex, I've not heard about Yandex really. Then there is Vividel, Vivadil, really? There is even SeaMonkey. That's also a web browser. Then there is Brave web browser. So it only picks of these which are the most commonly used. Again, the mere fact we are using a free tool, definitely expect it to give us, but if you have a paid for version, it will hunt and pick out much more. So if someone is suspecting that, yes, something funny, fishy was happening, so it's taking us through what one can do, and it gives us all our steps of how you can be able to retrieve all that was there for us. Okay, so it's now at the bottom, having read through, that you would want to download. Check, which one do you want to download? Is it the browsing history view, or for a 64-bit? Or do you want to download the MD5 SHS something hashes? Mine is this for a 64-bit. So you need at any one time to know the specifications of your computer. So once it installs, we should be good to open our file. These are always small tools. This is how it does appear. Okay, there are no people online, but still you never know. You would want to see what, didn't we cancel what we were running? I think so. Volatility, no, it was this one. Okay, it was this one. We ran our browser. So it has different items you're interested in. One of them it's asking for, you would want to filter. You would want to filter by time of visit. You would want to filter by time of visit, by a number of days. If it's 10 days, it's okay. Number of hours, it's okay. Sometimes if you want to put a date range, from this date to this date, because it may overwhelm you in the kind of outputs. If you, of course, select any time, you're in trouble. I told you since the manufacture date, whether you go and you erase, Have you ever seen some criminals who go to the browser history and keep clearing, clean all, delete? It doesn't, because our tools will report you. So we can say maybe for X hours, you can specify the date. We want to load any URLs that won't be very helpful because we don't have any. And of course, here you select the kinds of browsers. Here I've added in even more. There is Waterford, there is Pale Moon. So whichever, if you are very sophisticated in maybe hacking, and you say, by the way, I asked that question, I said, what if someone comes and wants to carry out hacking in Uganda? Can they track someone? They say, yes, if they are interested, they can. It's UCC that has those powerful tools to trace us up to our location. I said, okay, so it will take them a long time until you really come to what they're supposed to be doing. So once we can select all of them, it's okay. Because you don't know, you may be dealing with a computer expert who has actually been using all kinds of hidden apps. So it has run and quickly given me an output. It says in the last 10 hours, I have run how many items? 173. If you run yours, you may see, if you're a very active browser, some of you may have up to 10,000. Some may have up to 5,000, depending on the duration. I just wanted to pick out something in the last 10 hours. At least it has given me some quick output so that I can see what is it that I have been doing. So whichever I'm interested in going to, you just open it and it will take you there and it opens. Lo and behold, it finds, if you were searching for something that was good, if you're a criminal and we know the sites we are searching out for, yes, it will be able to do what? Look at them. It will show you everything really in totality. Like now in this case, I don't have a PDF reader or mine is corrupted. So it picks it and opens it in a browser. So that's why it is opening. All PDFs have yet opened. That's why there are so many. The thesis says which are revised. I don't know, because we've been meeting with the students since 6 a.m. in the morning. Okay. All kinds of websites are there for you. So you're able to track and see if you're interested in a particular file. That makes it very easy. Once you get this, you get your report out, you're good enough to present that, yes, this person has actually been doing this and the other. And I told you, once you have such evidence, you can't hide because it's coming live from one's machine. Okay. I would want, of course, still to go back and to listen to, not to listen, there's nothing much there to listen to. They were just getting to install what they had. And of course, if we quick fast track it, that is the browser history that they were searching for. They scroll all the way to the bottom as we did to look for the version to install. They picked the first one. Okay, they picked for X64. And so they open it, install it to make sure that they should be in position to run it. So it's the same tool that we're looking at, that they were able to tell us, do you want the last how many hours, how many days, etc. It should be able to bring out some reports. Again, do not forget what is the essence of digital forensic investigation. When you're investigating and doing thorough work, you want to investigate everything concerning the entire machine, including the browsers, including the emails. You will see when you go to that virtual environment, we have the .sys. Look at how many, for him, he got how many, 2,000 something, something. There we go. He had so many that he had run. So you're able, what you want is evidence. It's your evidence that you're going to present to the courts of law that are going to either exonerate someone. And by the way, they're telling us that when they present the case and they present evidence, it's up to you, the complainant, or you, the victim. They will tell you, you know, you together with your lawyers, please also go do your forensics. Bring here, and the courts of law do what? Compare. So if your own can afford and also go and run and say, no, it's true, it was a lie, then you will find that you will have been able to counteract it. So that's why I said any one time, they're always hiring private investigators. This is quick, soft money, quick money. You can pick out on, oh, it has already left us, it has gone to somewhere else. They've already jumped for they're already heading towards the password viewer. We want to write it as well. It is NIR soft, S-O-F-T, browser pass view. This one will pick out all passwords. I will leave it here and you will see how the man, all his passwords appeared and he was trying to rush through them. But if you're very keen, of course you can see, but what will you do? Nothing much. So still just like that same site, you scroll all the way to the bottom, download the web browser for pass view. It's always zipped. And these are small little tools. What questions can come, by the way? We can ask you to explain what some of these tools are used for. We can ask you to give us the importance, because at any one time you should be able to know, why are you doing forensic investigation? Okay, so that is the pass viewer that they have downloaded and have installed. See, I've opened it and see all the passwords. Look at, see, he's quickly scrolling. Don't see my passwords. Don't see my passwords. All of them are regurgitated. Honestly, run away from using public what? Public computers for your work. I told you, the moment people do that, they can hack in. And also if you go and you carry out an online payment, you're finished. You can't say, no, let me just log on to my e-wallet account, whatever bank it is, make a transfer. Immediately you leave, or even give you some few days. The actual hackers can now come and actually install some of these. And that's how they're always jeopardizing different people's accounts and clearing money. They get you, I told you. They will track you to the dot. Okay. I see it is 4 o'clock. We would want to stop here. But please, I will encourage us to please go ahead and practice. Because let us quickly just assess where we are. Let us quickly assess and see how far we've gone. We are done with the registry. That is with the reg shot. We are done with Access Forensic Toolkit. OS Forensics, I encourage you to install it and use it, because it exactly does the same as what our Access Forensic Toolkit does. It creates images, but as you saw the environment, It has much more. It has several tools. However, because it's a trial version, it will give you limited access. We've seen our ramp dumping using rampdumpit.exe. And this one is checking our random access memory. RAM it, that helps us in quickly getting the image of the RAM. To analyze it, we use the volatility workbench. We looked at hashing. Hashing helps us to do our verification, testing our integrity. You can use the hashing within the OS Forensics, as we saw, or even wherever you ever see anything hashing, like in that kind of virtual environment, you still click that hashing, it will still be able to allow you to check for the hashing levels of integrity of your text. We wound up with these two last items. We looked at our site StarSoft, NISoft, to help us pick up all our browser history. In addition to that, we looked at how can we pick all the passwords that you have ever had on that particular browser, on that machine. It will regurgitate. Whether it didn't ask you, did you save me or not? No, everything ever used, whatever email. Oh, my friends came and logged in. It picked the password, kept it. So and so came and everything appears. The last few that are remaining, you can see them, steganography. This should be the next chapter we are going to cover. Steganography is the process of hiding. When you want to hide information, we have some tools here. We use XIAO. It's an open source tool for hiding. Then this is for pictures. If you want to hide some text in an image or an image in a text, you will see how we can use a Metapix. We shall look at all the others in our next set. We only have 6 remaining, and we are done with our list because you see majority of them have been done. But remember, all these are open source tools. So students, I encourage you to kindly do your work, kindly install, kindly practice, kindly see how, and by the way, even if you're stuck, I already put videos on how to use each of them from YouTube. I just typed in how to use RegShot. It's there. Forensic Toolkit, it is there. I copied it. I said, you know, sometimes maybe the students may be a little bit lazy and say, Madam, you were too fast. It is there. OS Forensics, everything is available where? On YouTube. You need to get a bit of data. You need to get time. Have a nice evening, class. So I'll create for us that link so that we register our names and our email addresses so that we start the planning process, at least before these few weeks end. We thank God at least the COVID situation is not bad. But of course, people are still dying of COVID, by the way. So take good care.